Well, of course, you all see me with these goggles up and this mask down because I have just been over on the bandsaw where I've been cutting off another piece of wood from which some more blanks are going to be cut. But right now, I'm getting ready to show you all the basics of how we get started off. And since we've been working on foxes lately, I have decided I have this little pattern here for a blank. It's my original, and whenever I'm going to use it to carve out any more or cut out any more blanks, I make a Xerox of it. And I will tell you all that this Xerox machine is in my dad's office, which is only on the other side of the basement in the other corner from where my shop is. So I'm just going to show you all a little demo here. I put the thing in the copier and we'll make a copy of it here. And so this is a Xerox and it is going to be cut out and used to trace the pattern onto a new piece of wood. And now I must say there's a little more extra work to come along here. And this is the same pattern as the one from which you saw me carve the one out of cherry and the one out of walnut for the previous video. But I'm getting ready to try to carve out some more. And I do want to tell you that even the ones you saw me carve from cherry and walnut are kind of different from the ones you saw me carve out of Purple Heart in a previous video. And the thing I do need to mention is that as far as the other fox pattern was concerned, that was one where it was a little bit smaller and the ears were in a different position, so it was harder to carve the ears out of that one, and therefore the ears were always getting chipped off and making it so I had to turn it into beavers and whatnot. Thankfully, it's gotten to the point where most of my beavers have sold as well as all my little foxes, so I'd say this is going to be a better pattern for a fox, as it's going to be a little bit bigger and have the ears positioned upwards like they're supposed to be. Make it so they won't get as easily chipped. And I want to show you all little things I do here. I've already cut out the pattern, but one thing I will do here is I first of all have to cut these lines in it, because that is going to be the place where it's, these lines are going to need to be cut so we can fold the wood over to trace the lines into the other side of the blank once we're done. But this is pretty much, I'd say, how it's going to go for now. There's a little cut and saw mark in the wood, so we're going to have to find some way to avoid that when it comes down to making the carving. And I guess I'd say on at least one side it's probably not going to work, but we can just manage that when we go about doing the carving and stuff. So we're just going to have to take it as best we can here. And this is a piece of Kentucky coffee tree that I just cut off of a bigger block right before I started doing this video. And right before I started doing the copying thing and all, that was, like I said, why I had all this on, because I was on the saw. And so this is something where, as you see, we're going to kind of fold this up to try to trace these lines a little more and kind of make it so we draw the line here and here and here and here and down to the back of the neck for the ears. We draw a line right here under the hind feet where another line is going to be drawn to take it a little further. Draw a line down here under the toes of the back feet, and kind of draw another line in here, try to make it so it's going to be a little work in progress once we kind of get it all done, how it's going to be when we come down to it. So it's just little work we're doing along these lines. And so how these lines are going to come out on the fox, I'd say we've got them pretty good here. And so that's how we got one traced out so far. And then we are going to take the same little pattern blank, probably try to decide what would be the best way to turn it, but we finally figured a little something out here, so we're going to kind of turn it in a way so it faces the edge a little better, and try to line up the feet and the tail with the edge of the wood. And we got one little line we're going to make here to make the front of these feet, another little line we're going to make here to draw and trace down that way, another we're going to make here to kind of make it so the end of the feet come out. And so this is how we're drawing along on this. We got to make one here that separates the hind feet from the tail, put it back and trace on that area again. And we got another line here to make that's going to make it so the fox should turn out so good as we do it. And there's probably going to be little things we're going to work about here and there, which we're going to take care of. But right now, I'm going to move over to the bandsaw and I'm going to saw it out. As for right now, you can see we kind of got it to where we made the chin and the front of the feet come out, and there's other little places we're going to saw out between the front and back legs now. Finally, we kind of got the front and back feet separated. There's probably some lines we're going to cut here, maybe this time to remove what is in front of the face. I can almost see some little critter I could probably carve out of this little piece. Don't know what that's going to be just yet, but we'll figure something out. I will say by now we're going to kind of cut out those pieces that separate the hind feet from the tail. And I'd say there's probably a couple little scraps here that they kind of came out a little different from each other, but I think once it comes down to it, might end up being a little too small to use anyway. Might just have to be firewood, kindling or something. But there's a couple other lines to make on each one, down the ears and down the back and the tail. I will say I finally got the blanks out and probably ended up with a funny looking shape in the middle of some sort. There's probably some funny little thing we could use this for. Don't know what it'll be just yet, but that'll be something we're gonna figure out. And finally, we can kind of remove all this now, kind of put the hat back on right, so don't have all that mess to deal with. And so I'd say that this is kind of some work where I've got another little thing to do here, and finally it is to the point where we're going to take the same pattern and trace out on the back those other lines I was talking about. So lay it down like this, and the places where you made the cuts, we're going to fold the pieces over and make little lines come in there just in about the places where they need to be. And so I say that it's just kind of a little work in progress, as it's going to be. We gotta try to make little lines so they come in right, come in perfect, and so nothing is always going to be looking the same every time. Can't make everything exactly the same, but here's how we got the lines in here into this one, and I'd say a couple more to draw into this one as well. And little lines, draw the lines. I tell you, I can sure smell the aroma of some wood in here, because wood kind of gives off a real strong smell when you cut it, depending on what kind of wood you're using. It's the kind of smell I see right now isn't typical for this Kentucky coffee tree, but it's kind of how we got it out now. And finally, these are the little lines we have drawn into both sides of the blank. And I appreciate the fact that you all come on here and watch and see everything I do. I mean, my schedule's been less busy, so I've had a whole lot more time to get on here and show a whole lot more and do a whole lot more than I used to always get the chance to do, and I'm grateful for that. I appreciate the fact that you all come on here to see my videos and to show a lot and say a lot, and I would always appreciate even hearing some more comments in the comments section. Thank you all for watching, and take care.